everybody. I'm just going to make sure all my technology comes on like it should. Hang on. There's someone on. Oh, there I am. Awesome. All right. Okay, good. Thanks, babe. I hope everybody's doing well today. It's Wednesday, hump day, and normally on any given time we would be looking forward to the weekend. We have crested the top of the hill and we are pointed at our Friday, but in these quarantine times, there's really a hard time telling the difference between today or Friday or Saturday. Is anyone else feeling that? Well, today we are going to talk about purchasing your first featherweight. I often get phone calls from students and clients, people who are all of a sudden find themselves in the market to have an antique sewing machine on hand, and they have a lot of questions. What kind should they buy? What model should they buy? What year should they buy? What should they look for when purchasing a featherweight? And all these questions have big answers to them. So what I've decided to do is to break this out into a 3-part series called Buying Your First Featherweight. So today, what we're going to discuss in the live is laying the groundwork for a good search for your first featherweight. I as a dealer and as a repair shop, I have just had several nightmare stories in my midst with people who have been taken for a ride on auction sites, sale sites, and it hurts my heart that people don't have the same type of integrity that I do when it comes to finding these old machines, new homes. And so whenever possible, I try to redeem the situation. One of the worst stories that has ever come through the shop of someone buying a machine and really getting taken on a ride was a gentleman I talked to in Michigan. He was a grandpa and he was trying to buy his granddaughter a featherweight. The granddaughter is 5. And the great grandmother was still alive and living in Florida and had several featherweights, but she was unable to locate them in her house. So the son, who had a granddaughter who was 5, decided to go out to Etsy and purchase a machine in order to give to his 5-year-old granddaughter to learn how to sew. Well, he found a machine overseas, a UK featherweight, paid $275, which is a decent amount of money for a featherweight, theoretically in working condition. And the machine showed up and it had no motor, no case, no bobbin assembly, no bobbins, no feet, nothing. It was the hull, the body of a featherweight. So $275 for the body of a featherweight is a crime. And so not only was it didn't have anything, but the damage and the corrosion on the machine looked like it had been stored in a mud puddle for 10 years. Hands down, the worst machine I've ever had come through the shop. So when he called me to tell me all these bits and pieces were missing, I had given him a quote. You have to be really careful with the repair type situation after the fact, because if you have to end up replacing parts that cost more than the machine is worth, then you're upside down in the investment of the machine. So you have to be really careful about that. And that's actually part 3 of our series, is going to be talking about the aftermath of purchasing the machine and what repairs cost and what parts cost and all that fun stuff. So anywho, I landed up getting the machine shipped to me and getting it running. I absolutely couldn't believe it was running. Hi, Mary, on Facebook. And it was like one of those featherweight miracles. I remember it was about a year and a half ago. I remember posting a picture on my story and going, oh my gosh, I can't believe this thing's running. But she was running and she was stitching, and I'm sure that 5-year-old was very happy to have it. But my hope is to be able to help people avoid situations like this. So there are several different models of featherweights. Actually, not several, 2 specific models. There is the 222 and the 221. The white featherweights and the tan featherweights are still considered 221s. So 221s have 3 colors: black, white, well, it's called pale turquoise by factory, but it's white to us, and tan. And then there is the 222s, which is the second model of featherweight that was made over in the UK for the European market. And they're also called the free arm convertible because the bed extension slides off of them. Those are the 2 models of the of the featherweights. I'm sorry. A lot of people have a thing about a special year of featherweight. So there's kind of, us featherweight enthusiasts have a little bit of a culty, air quotes, following regarding oh yeah, Alicia, I'm going to mention the bobbin assembly because that is a very expensive little sucker to replace. The what was I saying? Year. So some people like the featherweight of their given birth year. If you were born in 1942, 43, and 44, you're totally out of luck. You will never find a featherweight manufactured in those years because those years were during the war and they were manufacturing ammunitions for the metal, bullets, hand grenades, stuff for the war effort. So there was no Singer featherweights, no Singer sewing machines made in those years. In my opinion, the year isn't as important as getting a good machine. So if you're looking for a machine that you actually want to use, if you're looking for a machine that you want to collect, so aesthetically you want kind of a pretty shiny one, then the year should really not be the sticking point for you, because you might be able to find a better machine for what the purposes that you have, not necessarily in the same year that you're born. But if you happen to have a perfectly nice 53, 52, 49, 48, whatever your birth year is in front of you, and it fits your purpose for the machine, then by all means, that machine is worth looking at. But just to have a 49, to have a 49, to have a 49 is, and not necessarily fulfill a specific purpose, that's where the collecting end of this comes in and not so much the using end. So that's my next question for you. If you're looking to purchase this featherweight, are you looking to actually use it, or are you looking to just collect it? So like a lot of collectors, like myself, have to have one of every color, one of every model. So I went out specifically looking for a tan machine just because I wanted to add the tan machine to my collection, not necessarily because I was looking for a tan machine to use. I knew that this machine was just simply going to sit on a shelf and live in my collection, but not necessarily be used. I do not have a bunch of those machines, by the way. My collection is probably smaller than most because I like to actually use my machines. They see action every single day. Oh, my glasses, I get a lot of compliments. They're Warby Parkers. Aren't they cute? Thanks, though. Someone asked me about my glasses. You can also spend, yeah, Alicia. So Alicia Webb is on Facebook. She is Featherweight 38. She's my buddy in Dayton, Ohio. She has another, well, she's in semi-retirement mode at this point, but she has had a featherweight business, and her, and she's giving me lots of good tips to remind you guys about on Facebook. So I will try to get those in there. Okay, so you're welcome for my Warby Parker. All right, so are you going to actually use it? If you just want a machine to sit on a shelf in a door, or to just be pretty on a display shelf with some other antique items, then your year shouldn't be as important, or for that matter, how it runs shouldn't be as important, but you would be more concerned about the aesthetics, the condition of the decals, the condition of the finish. Is it shiny? Do I recommend leaving a featherweight on a shelf and just adoring it? Absolutely not. These machines want to run. They want to sew, like that one that I resuscitated out of a 10-year-old mud puddle from Michigan. That machine ran. That's a testament to their engineering and design, the original architecture of them. They absolutely can sit on a shelf and look pretty, but for the most part, I encourage people to use them. They want to be run. So if you want a machine that is a good runner, then the aesthetics or the condition of the finish or the shininess of it. Lisa Meadows is on from Arizona. Hey. Oh, 100 this weekend. 100 degrees in Arizona. It's raining today in Seattle. Honestly, I'd take some sunshine, but I don't know about 100 in Arizona. So if you want to use a featherweight, the aesthetics of the machine, how it looks, should come behind how it runs. I always encourage my clients whenever possible. Now, I do sell quite a few over the internet, so people can't actually try them out ahead of time, but I get some of the specifics on how they're going to use them so I can test them, because each machine runs differently than the next machine. There's no featherweight that runs just like the featherweight sitting next to it. They all have their own cadence. They have their own movement to them. One of my favorite machines in my collection is my 1934 school bell, the second production run featherweight, and that machine has a hypnotic cadence to it. I can't describe it any other way. Some of them are just faster than others. Some of them are slower than others. It just totally depends. The other thing that you want to think about ahead of time before you go out and purchase a featherweight is the expense of repair. So this is Alicia, thank you for your tips. So this is where this comes in. If you buy a featherweight and the motor is dead or seized, a motor replacement for an aftermarket motor, not a Singer motor, is about $150. If you want an actual vintage original motor, 110 motor for running here in the US, then you have to find one on eBay or through a dealer like myself, someone who can rewind, refurbish them, and that could run you upwards of $300. So whatever the price of the sewing machine was, if the motor is bad on it, then you're looking at between $150 and $300. If your bobbin casing is missing, and the bobbin casing is the little silver compartment that the bobbin pops into, oh, I have a school bell. Elisa is like, I want a school bell. I got it on accident, but it's awesome. So the bobbin casing alone is $100. So if your machine comes without a bobbin casing, that's another $100. These are all things to think about when you're looking at a machine. Now, obviously, the other question that you could be thinking is, do I want a painted one or do I want a black one? Because a lot of places like my husband and I paint the ones that are on their way to the landfill and give them a second lease on life in a new color. For me, I always recommend people start with a black one. I think that you need to develop an appreciation for the original designer's intention and architecture of the machine before you jump off of the cliff with a hot pink or a red with white polka dot machine or a sunset orange or whatever. I feel like you have to have an appreciation for the black ones first. All right, so I have some comments here. Yeah, see, she says her 1933 runs quieter than her 1946. I know, my 34 is my favorite one to sew on of all of them. Someone says, I wish I could have found you one before I bought mine. I actually often get a call from people that know that I'll consult on purchases. I just had a lady a few weeks ago who was buying a 222 from someone locally and got me on the phone so I could run her through a few things to look for. Please feel free to include me in on those conversations. I'm very happy to say, oh, you want to walk away from that, or that's a good deal, or yeah, if you don't want that, I'll take it. No, I'm just kidding. It's never happened like that before, I promise. Anyway, so I just wanted to kind of lay the groundwork for the beginning of your purchase, your first featherweight purchase. In future, the part 2 and part 3 will get into what to actually look for when you're on site with the seller, and then the next part 3 is going to be about how to get her in good working order and the repair expenses and all of that. So I've kind of broken this out into 3 areas. So that's what I have for you this afternoon. Let me see if I have any other questions before I let you go. I have Friday, I have another live coming up. I'm doing a, my mind today is a little cloudy. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm doing a happy hour sew-in on Friday from 4 to 5 for an hour. I'm still working on that Tula Pink quilt. I've been so busy this week with emails and website stuff that I haven't had too much of a chance to do any fun sewing. And so I'm looking forward to sitting down with you guys for an hour on Friday and getting another big dent into my Tula Pink new bed quilt for next winter. And then we'll be doing part 2 of buying your first featherweight next week sometime. So that is what I have for you this afternoon. I so appreciate everybody getting on with me and joining into the conversation. It makes my heart happy that people have questions and value what I have to say. I know I really value what you guys have to say, and it just is a great encouragement to me right now in this crazy quarantine time. So anyway, I hope everybody has a good evening and a good dinner, and I'll look forward to talking to you on Friday. If you haven't already, go ahead and like us on social media. We're on all of the platforms. We're on Facebook, we are on Instagram, and we are on YouTube, all under Featherweight Doctor. If you haven't already done this, you can go on to our website, featherweightdoctor.com, and subscribe to our newsletter. We send them out once a month. I will not sell your information. I will not spam you. I'm a once a month newsletter kind of gal. And then if you have any other questions that you would like me to address during these live events, you can email in to me directly at info@featherweightdoctor.com. Thanks so much for joining me. I'll look forward to seeing you.